So you've finally done it. You've won promotion to the big time. But now the hard work starts. So today we're going to look at how we can get our squad ready for a season in the top flight. Right folks, welcome to my SC Salgueiros save that I'm doing over on my YouTube channel at the minute. And we have just got promoted to the top division in Portugal. So now it's time for me to plan how I can keep my squad in the better division. Especially when you're going to be greeted by such giants as Porto, Benfica and Sporting, planning for the top is going to be essential. Now the first thing to do is to be ruthless. You need to have a look at your 11 and decide who is good enough to make the step up. This is where you need to take loyalty out of the equation. You may have formed a bond with some of these players, but if they're not good enough for the top flight, you've got to be honest with yourself and take them out of the team. So that's the first thing I do. The players I realise who will not be good enough for their upgrade to the next level will be taken out of the team and replaced. Now I can see the essential gaps that I need to focus on in the transfer market in the off season. This just helps me keep myself focused and not end up with 25 strikers. It's not only the starting 11, you need to have a look at your bench as well. Who's going to supply some quality off the bench? If they're not good enough, take them out of there. Just get them out, get rid of them. And then what you could do is replace these bench players with the players that you left out of the starting 11. And now at least you know you've got some decent backups, but you need to fill the bench up as well. So now you've got an idea of how many players you're going to need. That is always the first thing I do, whether it's going to the top division or going from the 4th division to the 3rd division. I'll do that every time just to keep myself focused on transfers. The next one is, how do you know what type of player, what standard of player you need to bring in? So for this, a little trick I like to do is go to the league you're about to get promoted into. So we're about to go into the top league in Portugal. And then I'm going to take a look at the teams that are on their way down. So you've got 3 teams here. We'll take the best of the bunch, Arusa. I'm going to explore their team and see what standard of player they had. So their key player is Oriol Busquets. He's their key player, formerly of Barcelona. His value there is at 10.5 to 12.5 million. So he's a decent player. And if you look across his attribute range, there's some decent standouts there as well. So then say to yourself, right, he's their key player and he looks like he's a defensive midfielder. I'm going to compare him to what I've already got. So I'll go to player comparison, compare with Salgueiros, and I'll pick out the player who I think will be starting for us. There is Antonio Capellas. He's my starting defensive midfielder, and if you have a look at the polygon, he's not far off. He's actually ahead in some areas, behind in some others. So initially I think I'm okay there. I'm not going to have to replace that man. Going to the attribute levels, you can see there's pretty much dead level across the board. Some standouts on either side. So I think for defensive midfielders, I'm going to be okay at that sort of standard. So I'll do that throughout the squad and I'll be able to find out what sort of level my players are at compared to a team that struggled. For example, this was their starting centre-back, and defending is going to be pretty key when you first get promoted. So we'll compare him with my starting centre-back, Rafael Fernandez. So that's who we're comparing him with, and you can see it's pretty much a dead heat. Fernandez is slightly down on the terms of vision, but I'm not going to use him as a ball-playing centre-back. So I'm perfectly happy with that. It tells me that I've got a decent level of centre-back ready for this top division. But at the same time, they did struggle, so you do need to bear that in mind, that you will have to get some players that will go above that. But if you don't have a lot of money like us, it's good to see that we have players that are competitive at this level already. Now, one thing that gets a bit overlooked is your staffing. Now, staffing currently for me looks pretty good, right? We have the best coaching in the league, recruitment teams up there, even the medical teams okay. But bear in mind that those levels are set for the division you're currently in, not the one you're about to go in. So it's a good time at the end of the season to take a look at your staff and have a look and see who should get released and replaced. Now, luckily for me, I've got quite a few that are coming up out of contract, so I can get a bit ruthless here and get rid of them. For example, Paulo Diego, is he really good enough at this level? You can see his attributes are probably set for the division below. I want my attributes of my staff to be in the range that I'm looking for my players, so he will be replaced. Same goes for your recruitment team. Recruitment's going to be essential, so if you have a look at them, a lot of my guys are not good enough. They weren't even good enough at this level, so this is the time to really upgrade your staff. Now, once the game loads through and you go into pre-season and you are escalated into the division you're about to be in, you can get really, really down and dirty with the squad planner. Under report tab up here, go to comparison. So you can get really detailed here. If we choose goalkeepers, for example, an area I am pretty weak in at the minute, still some work to do. This is the physicals that are showing initially. You can see the highest average up here and the lowest average here. So you can see the work we've got to do. Now, if you want to look at other aspects, such as the mental performance of your goalkeepers, you can select that. And you can see where you stand in terms of the rest of the league. Same goes for like your technicals, goalkeepers. We're a bit better placed there, but there's definitely some work to do. Now, if we've got our strikers, for example, the situation's a little bit better. Our strikers look pretty good, and if you think that we've got the highest average there for something, such as heading, it's going to help you out in your planning. And there's the comparison when I choose the attack level of my strikers. It's not bad at all, so I don't have to panic. I can prioritise other areas of the pitch. So using them techniques, I've managed to build my squad now. I've got a good starting 11. My bench is full. It's chocker. I've got a better squad, a better quality of player ready for this tough first season at the top division. And I've also managed to up my coaching staff game as well. If you can see, we've got the highest level of coaches in the league. And for a new team, that's pretty decent. Our recruitment team's not as good because we don't have as many scouts allowed as some of the other team, but the coaching team is where it's at, and we've upgraded hugely. This is twofold. We've got more numbers allowed, so I could get more coaches in, but also the quality of the coaches is up, such as Robin van Persie coming in as my attacking striker coach. You can see his attribute there of 16. It's only going to help. So that's it. I've used those tips to get my squad ready for the new season, but with a media prediction of 17th, I'm going to need all the help I can get.